Hi guys, Ron here and welcome to the workshop. Today I want to address one of my common topics and give you a bit of an update on it, and that's chain maintenance, chain care, chain lubrication, however you want to call it. And as you know, I'm a great proponent of chain waxing, particularly when it comes to regular hot bath of wax. In this case I use Molten Speed Wax. Some of you have been asking if it's okay to use regular, candle wax, pure paraffin, etc. It's better than oil, but you're not getting the full protection and full friction reduction of the Molten Speed Wax because it's a special blend of Teflon, molybdenum and paraffin. So my latest experiences after 2 years of using this stuff, I can say with 100% certainty that this has been the most disruptive change in my cycling in a good way, because before I knew it I was using regular chain loops, chain awls, and with them you degrease your chain to a factory finish, you lube it, go for a ride. It's black as the night, gunked up, greasy, and disgusting. So that's basically the only thing I hated about cycling and chains in general. Then I started using squirt lube, which I still use now and then in some combinations with Molten. And also now that Ceramic Speed have released a UFO drip, that's also very nice and very wax based. So let's just break it down according to disciplines. For indoor riding, I use 100% Molten Speed Wax only. It's clean, it's a bit noisier than a chain with oil, but you won't mess up your apartment, your floor, your trainer. You get flakes of wax, but you just take the vacuum cleaner and hover them up. Your chain is not wearing, your whole drivetrain is not wearing, so it's all good. Pretty much the same goes for my road, time trial bikes, and also my customers who are doing triathlons. Pure Molten Speed Wax there with event-based use of the race powder, of course, for even more reduced friction. Of course, that's a bit more messy, so I only use it for events. Some of you have been asking about riding in the wet with Molten Speed Wax, and I have to say it tolerates wet weather and keeps low friction even in basically the worst conditions. What it doesn't do is protect your chain from corrosion. It's not very good at that. So if you have a very wet, rainy ride, particularly if it's a long one, then you will need to re-wax your chain and clean it, preferably beforehand. If you're just on a regular winter ride when the roads are a bit damp, you can do multiple rides like that. It won't do anything to the coating. And basically I do around 300 kilometers on one set of or on one road chain that's been freshly waxed, because with the road bikes you don't ride in dirt, mud, you don't have to wash it after every ride. So, and even if you did, if you keep the water spray out of the chain, then yeah, it lasts pretty well. This is my drivetrain in particular. After thousands and thousands of kilometers, you can see this is a one bearing which sees more wear because of the more extreme chain angles. Not much to it really. Same for the jockey wheels here. Then if I show you the cassette that I've been using in conjunction with this, no real visible wear apart from the slight discoloration because of the wax buildup, and pretty much the same on this crankset. This is a customer's crankset, it's a double, As you can see, none of the usual wear marks, because it has only been used with a wax chain. And as for my chains, I've never had a chain wear out since pretty much I've been using Molten Speed Wax. One reason for that is, of course, I'm always rotating the chains. The second reason is because of the low friction and no dirt buildup. There's just nothing to wear them down. So that's road riding covered and indoor riding covered. It's a bit different for mountain biking and cyclocross. For both of these, of course, when I take a new chain to put on a bike, I properly wax them in Molten Speed Wax. That's the first step. But you know, with these bikes, it sometimes happens that you have to wash them after each ride because they're dirty. And yeah, with Molten, it's kind of impractical. So even though I still have a good coating on the inside of the chain, I reapply, after washing the bike, I reapply or reprotect the chain with either squirt lube or ceramic speed UFO drip preferably. I use in 99% of the cases the UFO drip, because that's cleaner, that's almost as clean as Molten Speed Wax itself, and it's almost as fast too. It's a lot more expensive if you calculate it, you know, on a day-by-day use or the number of kilometers you can run on it, but it still lasts pretty long, and all the characteristics are pretty close. And yeah, it just doesn't attract dirt at all, almost. So that's a good alternative. But as I said, if you calculate the cost of it, it's much more expensive in the long run than using Molten Speed Wax, although much more convenient as well. One place where it falls short, and particularly in cyclocross that's true, is low temperatures. The UFO drip doesn't like low temperatures. It's tricky to apply under 20 degrees Celsius. That's the recommended value, and I can testify that it really is a hassle, because it builds up, gunks up, you know, clogs up, and you can't really apply it evenly. So that's a drawback, and that's where I've used squirt lube to top up the Molten Speed Wax on my cyclocross chains, and it worked. One reason I've stopped using squirt lube is it's not all that clean on road rides, because on the road rides there's nothing to wash off or brush off your squirt lube, and it just keeps building up, and eventually you get a bit of a mess. But off-road, where you have dirt, water spray, mud, it actually turns out a lot cleaner with squirt lube in the long run, because it doesn't build up. So that's a good option for mountain bikes or cyclocross bikes as a top-up for Molten Speed Wax, if you don't want to re-wax after every ride or after every washing. Of course, there are some other options as well I've heard about. So Smooth, for example, pretty similar to Squirt. I haven't used that just yet. And some other wax-based lubes, but really these are the three that I use in these combinations that I've mentioned, and they work flawlessly. You know, all of my drivetrains are perfectly clean, perfectly smooth running in all conditions. So yeah, it really just works. And if you think about oiling your chain, then just forget it, because it's dirty and uncomfortable and messy and useless, with high friction as well, and in the long run more expensive as well, because it wears your stuff out a lot. The last customer I had in with the gunked up dirty black chain had only around 2,000 kilometers on it, and I had to throw the chain out because it was worn, it was stretched. So I get more than 10,000 kilometers on my chains, so yeah, in the long run, definitely worth it. Okay, so these are my long-term experiences with chain waxing and different techniques. If you want to know more about how I take care of my bikes, then don't forget to tune into the channel and subscribe. It's all for today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.